That was dope. That was dope. All right, family, here we are again. Once again with another friend. We got Mr. Jimmy in the LAB, the lab. He's here to talk to us about the power of policy in higher education. And he works for the De-Education Trust. It's a policy and advocacy organization. I thought it was a think tank. So y'all gonna learn. I'm gonna learn. We all gonna learn. All right. So how you doing, Jimmy? What's going on, man?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, as great as one can be without the pandemic, but luckily I have health and a job, so things are pretty good, bro. Thanks for having me
Word.
on.
Hey, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. And it's good to see you again, man. So let me just introduce how I know you real quickly. So y'all know I live in Cali most times. I have roommates most times because it's expensive in Cali. One of my roommates happens to be Jimmy's girlfriend. Uh, Jimmy's tall. She's not so tall, but she packs a punch, right? You don't want to mess with Sam. So,
Nah, you
um,
don't.
yeah, and just got to talking to Jimmy when he would visit, and he's into some interesting things, both professionally and personally. But we're going to talk about that education advocacy coming up. So, how would you briefly describe what you do?
I'm still trying to figure it out, man, to be honest. Policy can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But if I can synthesize it, like it's collaborating with folks, whether that's my coworkers, partners, or experts to advance equitable policies around affordability, like at the federal level, at the state level, at the institutional level. That's probably like when you boil it down to like the meat of it, that's pretty much what I do.
Okay, okay. And so, like, how is this done? Is it a myriad of things, saying some frontline action, some research action, like how is the sausage made, so to speak?
It honestly does depend by organization or like depends on the topic. At least in my experience, and again, I just came up like on a year in November. Oftentimes, like the organization already has like policy priorities that they want to pursue. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So then they usually get some type of funding to either do research. So we do research and are very data backed and data oriented. But we also provide a racial lens to it. So we provide like a racial justice lens to everything we do. So we
Okay.
don't just look at things for the numbers. We look at things for like who is it disproportionately impacting. And unfortunately, because of the way the system's set up, it disproportionately impacts Black and Brown communities. So we do the research advocacy side, and sometimes it's just policies that are already there and continuing, and we kind of do an analysis of like, okay, well, who's it actually serving, and
Hmm.
how where are the gaps, and how can we make it more equitable? So an example is like free college policies. Free college means different things to different people, and it varies across states. So we did like a framework of being like, all right, if you mean free college, like for who, for what, where, and how long, right? And we kind of took that framework and analyzed a bunch of like free college policies across the nation and kind of like provided a score of like, okay, this policy does really well, and this policy, doesn't always provide the financial aid to the students who need it the most financially. So that's kind of in like two parters of how we do the policy. Like there's original research, and there's also just like policy analysis and how to improve it.
No, man, I like the way you explain that. I'm kind of able to see it, like in my own. While you were speaking, I was seeing kind of like a ranking, right? Um, and within that ranking, you guys were identifying like who was effective, if I'm hearing you right, and who could use some improvement, which is like beneficial because you can have something set up, whether it's directly on the campus or um, whether it's something with dual enrollment, but it doesn't mean the program is actually meeting what's set up, right? So no, that's really interesting, man. That's really interesting. So